so short, and my lips have been stapled closed. That's just the start.
Hey, I'm Steven, and guess what? Next week I'll be filming in front of a brand new background. So if you want a sneak peek on that, head on over to facebook.com/ShitStevenSays and let me know what you think. After I graduated from high school, I moved out of my parents' house and I was living with a friend for a little bit. And this was the first time I ever lived with somebody that wasn't family. Now the thing about living with family is that you're stuck with them for a very, very long time. So you kind of have no choice but to get used to all the little annoying things that they do. But with roommates on the other hand, when people start to get ticked off at each other, things can spiral out of control pretty quickly. So here are the things that I've learned and some do's and don'ts about living with roommates. Number one is a big one. Don't take your roommate's food and drinks. When you're paying for everything that you eat, it's kind of frustrating when your roommate's helping themselves. You don't have to go all primitive and write your name on everything you buy in a big black marker, but, just separate some of the shelves in the cupboards and the refrigerator and you should be good. I know asking people for things might feel awkward sometimes, I even still get that, but, if it's a big case of Pepsi or beer or something like that, it's still polite just to clear it with your buddy before helping yourself. That leads me to another big point. Don't lie to your roommate, especially if it's something small like taking a snack or drink of theirs. It's better to just be honest. If you weren't friends with the person before you moved in with them, you should be by now, or you should at least be acquaintances of some sort. You're living with the person. There should be some trust and some honesty there, and you really shouldn't have to lock away all your belongings and lock your door every time you leave the house. Golden rule, never go into a roommate's room when they're not home. Even if they leave their door open and a huge pile of candy on their bed, do not go in there. This one is a given, but you have to clean up after yourself. Rotating chores like dishes and cleaning and stuff like that usually never works, ends up in confusion and frustration and stupid arguments, so just pick up after yourself and all should be well. If there's one thing I love, it's sleep, and I'm sure you probably agree with me. So try to be conscious of your roommate's sleep schedule. When I was living on my own, I liked to blast my music or watch movies really, really loud, but occasionally my roommate would have to work a night shift and then sleep in the afternoon, so those were the days I just kept it down. He did end up reminding me to turn the volume down once or twice, so don't be a scumbag Steve like me. Last but not least, when it comes to being a roommate, don't be a stranger. Make an effort to talk and chill with your roomie. If you weren't friends before you moved in together, you should definitely try to become friends. If you always keep to yourself and never socialize, people are going to think you're sketchy and not want to trust you, and when you're living with someone, it's always easier if you're friends with that person. If you liked my do's and don'ts about living with a roommate, maybe share this video with a friend who can relate to it. And if you wanted to hear my story about how I ended up living on my own, then check the annotation right there. Remember, next week I'm going to have a sexy new background, so if you want a sneak peek, head over to facebook.com/ShitStevenSays and check that out. I'm Steven, thanks for listening to the Shit I Have to Say. See ya!